this is Sarit. Welcome back to another episode. Today, I'm excited to discuss Stoicism 101 with you and show you how we can apply ancient wisdom to our modern lives. We have 8 big ideas to cover, so let's take a quick look and dive deep into each one. The first big idea is about the history of Stoicism and how it all started. The second big idea is the warrior philosopher. The third big idea is the ultimate aim of Stoicism, eudaimonia. The fourth idea concerns with virtue ethics and building a strong character. The fifth idea highlights the four cardinal virtues of Stoicism. The sixth idea is about dichotomy of control, an essential pillar of Stoic philosophy. The seventh big idea is about equanimity. Finally, the eighth big idea, a necessary practice of Stoicism, is finding a role model or ideal sage. Stoicism, a philosophy embraced as a way of life, is based on the teachings of four prominent Roman Stoics: Seneca, Musonius Rufus, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius. Although over 1,000 books have been written on the topic, only a handful of works by these great men have stood the test of time, a testament to their profound influence on humanity. The sequence of these ideas have no relevance, but I arranged them in an order that made more sense to me. First big idea, history of Stoicism. Stoicism is a philosophy that originated in Greece and Rome around 2500 years ago. Its founder was Zeno of Citium, a merchant from modern-day Cyprus. After losing all his goods in a shipwreck, he arrived in Athens with nothing. One day he heard a shopkeeper reading some philosophy and became intrigued by the subject. He asked the bookkeeper where he could find such a philosopher and was directed to follow a man who just walked past the street. The philosopher was Crates of Thebes, and Zeno became his devoted student. Zeno eventually founded the school, which was called the Stoa. The term Stoicism originated from the founder of the school, Zeno of Citium, who used to gather his followers at a public place known as Stoa, Okile, or painted porch. For a more detailed explanation of the history of Stoicism, I have an elaborate video. I'll link it in the description below. I strongly recommend you watch that too. Second big idea, warrior philosopher. While studying Stoicism, I came across the term warrior philosopher. It refers to becoming a warrior of the mind and the art of living. The word philosopher comes from Greek, meaning love of wisdom. The primary focus of Stoics was to apply philosophy to daily life and see themselves as warriors of the mind. They believed in practicing philosophy rather than learning it. After all, what's the use of learning something that you cannot put into practice? In his book, The Philosophy of Cognitive Behavioral Therapy, Donald Robertson mentions that in ancient times the ideal philosopher was a warrior of the mind. However, in modern times, the philosopher has become more bookish, more like a librarian of the mind. Stoic philosophy requires both theory and practice. Stoicism is not just for the elderly, but for everyone who wants to live and die well. It teaches us how to live an excellent life, face adversity calmly, and create a good life for ourselves. A philosopher who knows how to live well, which is not just an intellectual activity but requires daily practice. The Stoic philosophy is 1 part theory and 9 parts action, hence it is called the philosophy of the warrior mind. The third big idea, eudaimonia or eudaimonia. The Stoic philosopher aimed to answer the question of what constitutes a good human life, which they refer to as eudaimonia. The term is often translated as happiness, but it actually means a state of contentness or a life worth living. To be more precise, it means flourishing. Eudaimonia is the foundation of Stoic philosophy. It comprises 2 Greek words, eu, which means good, and daimon, which means soul or divine spark. Therefore, eudaimonia means to live in harmony with your highest self and to be good with your inner spirit. A eudaimonic life is one in which we strive to be the best humans we can be. I have an elaborate video For a more detailed explanation of eudaimonia, which you will find very interesting, I will put a link in the description below. So, what makes a eudaimonic life? This leads us to the fourth significant idea: virtue ethics. Achieving eudaimonia or happiness is the ultimate goal. The Stoics believed that the path to eudaimonia lies in demonstrating orate, which is another Greek word which means expressing the highest version of oneself moment to moment to moment. Orate is all about the virtuous activity of the soul, which leads to eudaimonic happiness. Virtue ethics focuses on improving one's character rather than answering questions about what is right or wrong. Instead of evaluating individual actions, the focus is on individual's character and whether they are becoming a better person or not. Virtue is a skill that can be learned through theoretical explanations and improved through practice. Just like learning to play an instrument, a philosopher provides us with a theoretical background, but it is up to us to improve day by day. For Stoics, only things that will enhance our character are considered truly good, while things that undermine our character are deemed harmful. Fifth big idea: four cardinal virtues. The four cardinal virtues necessary for personal growth and development. It is essential to practice these four virtues to improve continually. They are practical wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Practical wisdom helps us understand what we can and cannot change in life. Courage is not only physical, but it is also moral courage, the strength to stand up for what is right. Justice guides us on the correct course of action. Temperance is all about doing things correctly and not overreacting to situations while also not failing to take necessary actions. I have an elaborate video for a more detailed explanation on four cardinal virtues, which you will find very interesting. I'll put a link in the description below. Sixth big idea: dichotomy of control. The dichotomy of control is an essential pillar of Stoic philosophy. Epictetus, a former enslaved person and teacher, first introduced this concept in his manual for a good life, the Enchiridion. According to Epictetus, events fall under two categories: what's under our control and what's not. The former includes our judgments, opinions, and values, while the latter includes our body, reputation, career, wealth, and other things. Practically speaking, understanding the dichotomy of control means focusing on things that are up to us and accepting rest as it is. It translates into internalizing our goals, concerning ourselves with our intentions and efforts, which are under our control, and developing an attitude of equanimity towards outcomes which are not under our control. Although the theory is simple, the practice is difficult. Internalizing this concept can lead to freedom, serenity, and happiness. Cicero, a Roman writer, explained the Stoic position by using an example of an archer. The archer can choose how to practice and maintain their focus right up to the moment they let go of the arrow. However, nothing is under the archer's control once the hand leaves the string. A sudden gust of wind may deflect the best shot, or the target may suddenly move. Equanimity is the key to living a serene life. Once we recognize the difference between what we can control and what we cannot, we can focus on what we have the power to change and accept rest with equanimity. Acceptance is a highly effective way to find peace of mind. Life can be unpredictable, with positive changes and with negative changes. However, accepting this fact and embracing change can be liberating, as it helps us reduce anxiety and live in a more peaceful life. Knowing that change is inevitable can lead us to a path of serenity. Seventh big idea: obstacles. Life often presents us with obstacles that may seem impossible if we try to face them head on. However, alternative ways exist to overcome these obstacles, such as going over them or under them or around them. A good life is not just about thinking the right thoughts. It also requires effective action. Challenges keep coming our way, but each one allows us to become stronger and become equipped to face the next. In his Meditations, Marcus Aurelius tells himself. So this is a translation, so you might find it a little odd, but just get the gist of it. Our actions may be impeded, but there can be no impeding our actions or our dispositions because we can accommodate and adapt. The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacles to our acting. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. I love the last line. The idea is that by training ourselves to respond to circumstances by adapting instead of resisting them, I want you to focus on the life changing line in this quote from Marcus. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Just think about this line and let it sink in. If you want to dive deep into this concept, read the book by Ryan Holiday, Obstacle is the Way. Now we come to the eighth big idea, role model or ideal sage. The ultimate objective of Stoic philosophy is to help us become the best version of ourselves and most ethical individual we can be. We should pay close attention to our actions and always make the best possible decisions to achieve this. However, the ancient Stoics also recognized that people sometimes delude themselves into rationalizing actions that are more suitable and ethical. They suggested looking up to someone whose character we can emulate to counter this natural tendency. The ancient Stoics had a method to improve our character: role models. They created a collection of real and fictional role models whose virtues helped them to develop their characters. One of the most famous of these role models was Cato the Younger, who sacrificed his life to oppose what he saw as the tyranny of the Roman dictator Julius Caesar. Another role model that comes to my mind is Socrates, whose teachings influenced the Stoics and whose death at the hands of the state made him the first martyr for the cause of wisdom. Invite your favorite hero and ask them, what would they do in such a situation? What would Jesus do? What would Buddha do? Or what would Krishna do in such a situation? However, it is essential to understand that the idea of a Stoic role model does not suggest we should be ready to do the same things that Cato did. Instead, we should think of ordinary and extraordinary individuals we admire and strive to emulate their behavior, not necessarily their actions, but their commitment to doing what is right. Have you ever thought about becoming the best version of yourself? The hero in your story? This is an ancient concept that can be applied to modern life. I hope you found this video helpful and enjoyable. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I appreciate you and look forward to sharing another episode with you soon. Goodbye for now.